And I am Renee, and I'm really excited to be here with navigating the gap and autism in real time is our conversation today. And I'm really excited. We have our girl Erica here today, and Nona actually, Erica, Nona may jump in later on when
Okay.
if she gets home in time. But
Okay.
why don't you introduce yourself, Erica, and we're going to jump right in because I want to talk about that detox. But go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll get started.
Okay. My name is Erica Sorensi. I am a mother of one son. His name is Carter. He's 8 years old. He was diagnosed with autism at 3. Um, we did notice some differences after he was vaccinated. We noticed that his behaviors changed a little bit. He became a little bit more uneasy very easily. He wasn't reaching his milestones. He wasn't talking when he was supposed to talk. He was stimming a lot. So, with the stimming, he was like laughing out of nowhere. Um, he was spinning in circles. He was just doing a lot of different things that, the average kid probably wouldn't do. And because I was researching a lot, I was able to see that, okay, these are autistic symptoms. So, I did give it some time. But I did decide by the time he was around 3, when I didn't notice any changes, I decided, okay, we need to get him evaluated and get him diagnosed because there's no more that we can do. And, he needed the proper help. So we got him diagnosed at 3. Again, he's 8 now. He's made a lot of progress. He's still a work in progress, but a lot has improved since then.
Awesome, awesome. That is awesome, and we're live on YouTube, so we're welcoming our YouTube people, family that are
Okay.
able to join us today.
Okay.
I want to introduce myself. My name is Renee, and I am a mom of two boys, and my oldest, he we were diagnosed pretty late. When um, initially the diagnosis was medical. There was like it's something called 22q, or the George syndrome, which affects your 22nd chromosome. And something that's very common with children that have 22q is their eyes are shaped like almonds.
Mm,
And we were about 3 years in. There were, and another thing that's very um, like a strong trait is a heart disorder. So a lot of children in their first couple years have heart surgery because there's a valve that is on the opposite side. So they have
mm,
to get that valve surgically um, corrected. And
mm,
so we didn't have any of the heart challenges, but we did have voice and throat challenge. So my boy is hypernasal, which is almost like there's a closure here when we talk. His
mhm.
was completely open. It wasn't there. So
Oh,
he didn't have one. So we had a lot of language challenges because that closure wasn't able to close. So the clarity that you normally would get when you were saying mom or any kind of thing we need our airway to close and open to make those enunciate those letters and everything. And so
right.
that wasn't there. So that was a challenge. That was a way that we walked through. And I think because that was such a major part of what our challenges were. We spent a lot of time in Children's Hospital. Early on, I was told that it's nothing to do with autism. Like literally, I was told it's not. He's not autistic. He was very communicative, but he wasn't verbally communicating. He was
Oh,
just very expressive. He was very to the point where when he was 12 months old, his speech therapist told me to teach him sign language. He said he's going to get very frustrated. He doesn't have the language because of the physical problem, but because he is very expressive, he's very communicative. Like if there's something, he could just express it and people would know what he wanted. She said,
mm,
give him sign language, and that will give him language. until he basically grows into his own language. And that's how we started our journey. We started with learning sign language, dealing with like a lot of the physical medical challenges. But as time went on, language is just such a major part,
Yeah.
and today when I see some children, I see some mamas or families talking about their child and say nonverbal. I never got that he was nonverbal back then because they gave him language so early, but
Hmm.
he was nonverbal. And so some of the things that would be traditional, kind of like maybe he needs to get tested, we were facing those challenges, but we were never directed into the aisle of autism because we were just dealing with the medical part. So anyway, long story short, he was like officially diagnosed right around 15. Now we've had all the extra help. We've dealt with all the symptoms
Hmm.
that, but we never had, like, I never had the physical diagnosis. We had, for our IEP, it was other health impairment. So
Okay.
it was still we still qualified for everything because of the language. We qualified for all the services, and because of the other health impairment and the IEP, we qualified for everything.
Mm.
Everything that was on that little box of checklists. And of course, language is such a big part of how we, process things, communicate. That working through school and being on grade level was a constant challenge. And
Yeah.
so at some point I was told um, that he would need to learn, and I would say this is probably like second grade, that he would need to learn to memorize
Mm.
his like spelling words,
Okay.
because of the language barrier. They assumed he didn't understand the words. He
Right.
wasn't comprehending
Mm.
the list of spelling words. So they were just like, we're just going to teach him how to memorize. We're just going
Mm.
to, and the teacher actually told me that, and they did for about 3 or 4 years. He was just learning to, like, basically memorize, write it down, memorize it, and give it back on the test. And
Mm.
they never thought he would need to really comprehend it. And it just talks about how our kiddos can be missed off of they can miss out if you're not, like, as a mom or a dad or families. And I'm going on here. I know I don't
Oh
mean to go,
no, go ahead.
but I'm saying that I was totally. I came from Maryland, and in Maryland they had a lot of support. They had a lot of organization. I got very exposed to the special needs community, is what it was. It wasn't just
Mhm.
like, oh, he has language or he has this. No, it was everyone. We were all there. We had to go to certain therapy sessions. The kids were in therapy. The parents were in session. We were learning about how to better be an advocate for your children. Because of that, when I moved to Georgia and they started saying they were teaching him to memorize, and I learned, it challenged me to no end. I was just like,
Yeah.
okay, so you're telling me that this kid does not understand, because I know that he does. Like, I'm his mom and I'm with him all the time. He's
Right.
learned sign language since he was 12 months old, and he can
Wow.
sign, and he also could understand, like, receive the sign to him and
Hmm.
do what you sign to him. So
Hmm.
you're not, either y'all are going to have to sign to him, that's his language,
Right.
or we're gonna have to figure out something. And we did PEC symbols, we did the symbols. He had the computer to talk for him. We had all the things, but sign was like his natural go-to. It was just
Hmm.
something that was natural. He picked it up very naturally. And
Mm.
so I'm just saying that our journey was different. Ultimately, at 15, we did get the official diagnosis of autism, but I realized also that a lot of those things are parallel. It's
Yeah.
just, you may be one off and they won't call it, autism. But then when you get that diagnosis, which I think a lot of people may be scared of,
Yeah.
to get that official diagnosis, it opens the door for other programs, for benefits. And I'm not talking money as much
Right.
as I am
Right.
talking, ABA therapy.
Hmm.
Now he's 15 and I'm signing him up for ABA therapy, and he could get it, but he's so much
Hmm.
older now.
Right.
So that's a lot of information, but I just want to say that kind of is our journey. And I'll just fast forward to today, since we're autism in real time.
Hmm.
Today I did a video on my Instagram about us talking today, Erica, and we went to, this is like our fourth or fifth year, that Children's Hospital, because we are a part of that community, because we're craniofacial. He has a lot of things with his throat and everything.
Hmm.
That there's a camp, Camp Courage, that's given for families every year. For the weekend, you go and you do all the things that the kids do during the summer. We go
Hmm.
horseback riding, boating, fishing, make all the things that they do. And also, it's a respite for parents. You take a break, the
Okay.
counselors take the kids,
Yeah.
and it's free. And it's also an eye-opening event, because all the kids get to come. So whatever their ability or disability, however people describe it, that all the camps that Children's Hospital host are at this camp. So you're
Hmm.
going to see across the spectrum different. And I think that makes those all of our kids say, oh, it's not just me, I'm not by myself. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
It makes them more compassionate, it makes them more loving. Oh, you see a kid across the way, many kids signing to each other, or you see kids in wheelchairs, you see kids that may have limbs, not have limbs, and different things,
Yeah.
and they do not pause. They are still running up the hill to
Right.
get, they're still playing like it's nothing. So that was where we just came back from today. And
Okay.
yeah, it always makes me, I love it, because you take your whole family. You don't
Hmm.
have to, so everybody gets to be kind to each other, and you
Yeah.
get to experience that, togetherness. So it's good. So anyway, I'm gonna stop there, and I'm gonna turn it over to you, Erica, because that is my autism in real time. That's
Okay.
my story for today. But then I know you have some things you want to share, so I'm gonna turn it over to you and share your heart.
Um, well, as far as I know you mentioned the ABA therapy and stuff like that. When you said that some people are scared or some people are a little nervous, that's one thing I was not afraid of, because I knew that that was going to make him better. Um, I do feel like my husband, he was a little hesitant, but me personally, I'm just looking at it like I don't want my child to suffer anymore. And I think that that's how all parents should view it. But some parents, they are in denial, not necessarily that they don't want their child to get the help, but it's like they're nervous about what comes along with it, because once you get that diagnosis, everything changes. Like, it's not like, okay, we got the diagnosis, now back to the usual thing. Like, no, now we have the diagnosis, it's a whole different lifestyle that's going to take place.
Hmm. Right.
So, one of the first things that happened with me, and I feel like it needs to happen with everybody, is you have to pretty much grieve the life that you're not going to live. And I remember I told you before, like when I was pregnant, I had so many plans. Like, I want him to play sports, I want him to, play instruments, he's going to do this, he's going to do that. And I had all those, I was so excited. Like, I ran track, his dad ran track, oh, he's going to do this, he's going to play football, he's going to, everybody had so much that they were saying he was going to do. And then once I noticed, like, okay, he's a little different, I'm like, he might not get to experience those things. And if
Yeah.
he does experience those things, he's not going to experience them probably the same way that the average kid would. But at the end of the day, it's not about, staying in that place. You can't just grieve, woe is me, because at the end of the day, you have to lift your spirits and you have to be positive for them.
Absolutely.
You have to accept where they are and
Mhm.
celebrate where they are,
Yeah.
because they don't know that they're different. Like at that age, he doesn't know, okay, I'm this way and this kid is this way. No, he doesn't know. He's just looking at it like I'm a regular kid, you know?
Right.
So it's like you got to treat him. I treat him like he's a regular kid. He, he has his stuff that he likes to do. He doesn't play any sports yet. I do kind of want him to play soccer. I want to get him into soccer. I know it'll probably
Yes.
be hilarious to watch, but I do want to get him into soccer. But he likes to play with his cars and his dinosaurs and stuff like that. And I let him live in his moment.
Yeah.
And I look like, oh, look at that. Look, go ahead, Carter. Okay.
Right. Right.
Because you want to make him feel good about what he's doing. And
Absolutely.
yeah, I celebrate where he is, and I'm excited to see where he's going. But one thing that I knew that I couldn't do was stay in that sunken place of being sad or being depressed, because you have to lift your spirits up for them. And I do
Absolutely.
follow a lot of autism pages, like social
Okay.
media pages, and it'll show the parents, and it'll show like little clips, and the mom is crying and all this kind of stuff. And I get it. I
Yeah.
understand, you're sad or whatever, but you can't cry too long. You gotta get up and keep going, because they're gonna be looking like, what's going on? We got stuff we need to
Absolutely.
do.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
and that's just how, as long as I treat him, that's right. Go ahead, I'm sorry. As long as I treat him that he's regular, he's not going to feel any kind of way, because they're very smart. They
Absolutely.
they're well aware of what's going
Oh
on,
my
and
gosh.
they can feel emotions. They can tell, okay, what's going on, like, your face is a little like, what's up, you all right? Like, they
Yeah.
can feel that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's when I knew, like, okay, I have to get myself together for him. And I
Good for
can't,
you.
I can't be sad, and I can't be down, because sometimes he would just come up to me and just look in my face. And I'm just like, hey man, I'm all right.
Oh,
Like, you have to
yeah.
stay up and stay positive for the kids.
So let me ask you, what do you attribute to being able to, for lack of well, I think it's like, I don't want to say pull yourself up from the bootstrap, but giving yourself a limit, a time to grieve, but then saying now it's time to do something different. Like, what do you give
Um,
credit to that for?
I honestly, I'm not saying, oh, I'm past that stage, because
Right.
sometimes, because having a child with autism, it's like something new every day.
Absolutely.
Okay, go outside.
Absolutely.
It's something new every day. So I don't try to stay down too long if I am going through something. If he's having a meltdown, or if he's having a tantrum and he's having a moment, sometimes I might have a moment, but it's like I have to wait until he's away. Like if he goes upstairs or something, and I just take a breather, because they are very sensitive to our emotions.
Yes.
So if we feel some kind of way, if he's having a meltdown and then I meet him where he is, oh, then we're both going crazy. So
Yeah.
it's, I have to stay calm for him. But please believe, when he goes upstairs, I'm just like, oh, Lord have
Absolutely.
mercy.
That's your
But yeah,
time.
yeah. But it took a minute before I realized, okay, they basically bounce our energy. It's like almost like they match our energy. So
Right.
if he's matching my energy, then I stay calm. If I stay calm, then he calms down. It may take him a little longer,
Yeah.
but I can't let him know that he's getting to me, because if
Yeah.
he knows that, then he's going to go even crazier. So a lot of stuff, I'm just like, okay, are you done? Like, you finished? And then,
Yeah.
like, when he realizes, okay, she's not playing my game, then he calms down. But it took time. This is,
Absolutely.
like, he's 8, so I've been going through this for a little while now. But in the beginning, it was tough. Like, I would, oh my goodness, I would have my struggles, because before we started detoxing him, which we're going to talk about,
Yes.
before we
We're going to
started
talk about it.
detoxing him, before we started his diet, before we started his vitamins, his gut was, that's right, his gut was, all over the place. So if his
Right.
You might hear that throughout
It,
the
it's
videos.
okay.
Um, because of his gut, it was causing his behaviors to be all out of whack. So I had to try to calm him down, but I
Okay,
didn't.
so go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish your thought, and then you're gonna talk to us about the detox.
Okay, so I would have to try to calm him down, but I'm not realizing that it's the metals that's in his stomach, it's the toxins that's in his stomach. Those are
Amazing.
the things that are causing him to not be able to calm down. When I'm just thinking, oh, he's just emotional. Like, no, he's dysregulated because of what's going on in his gut.
Right.
So, once we got that under control, he was able to manage his emotions a lot better. And he was also able to make a lot of progress with his speech. And here we are.
That's amazing. Now, let me
In the
ask you.
bathroom.
Right. And let me ask you because let me ask you about time frame. So you started detoxing,
Mhm.
and how long was it before you started seeing
Right.
results? Because people are always result oriented. So how long was it?
I would say that's right. All right, go ahead. Um, I actually did a video in my blog, the first blog, and I watched it recently, and it said it was like a video um, showing him playing with a toy, and he was in school, and he would push the button, and it would say more. And once it said more, they would hand him a Dorito and he would eat it, which we had to cut Doritos because that's a whole nother story.
Uh,
But they would, and then it was like, it said 6 months later, and then it showed him reading um, flashcards. And I'm just like, and that was 6 months. And it said on there, like, detoxing, diet change, and vitamins. And now look where we are. So within a 6 month time frame, he was able to start reading. He calmed down a lot. It wasn't
I
as
love
many
it.
tantrums, but it was more so just like his brain was starting to. It was things were starting to click, whereas before they weren't clicking.
Yeah.
It was all over the place. But then once we started the detoxing, I would say 6 months in, that's when we noticed the difference. And then over time, things just started to change. His behavior got better. I know the teacher said that he would walk around the classroom and they would just let him. And I'm like, no, like he needs to
Right.
sit down. Like
Right. Right.
I
Right.
don't want you to treat him like he's just like this little teacher's pet that just walks around. Like, no, I need him to be on the same level as the other children. And
Yeah.
but I knew the only way that could happen was if I did what I needed to do on my end, because it's hard to calm them down if they have, the yeast in their guts and they have the sugar in their belly and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
you know, but
So go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I
I
wanted
was
to I wanted to ask you because it's so interesting to me because I know how what you're saying is so important. I don't want you to rush past it. So when you started the detox, well, when you learned about it, did you tell us how you learned about even that was a thing? And then tell us once you tell us that, then tell me like what was like maybe the first couple weeks of what did detox look like? What did you prepare? What did you do with him?
well, the detoxing, that was something that I learned after I posted about the blog. I was having issues with, just coming up with solutions because nobody knew. My family knew, but it was more so, I think at that point, it wasn't an embarrassment. It was more so, I don't want people in my business. So I wasn't sharing it. But then it came to the point where I was like, okay, he's struggling. I'm struggling because I can't get him to calm down. All right, I'm going to have to take it to social media. So I put it on social media, and someone inboxed me about a detox bath. And she told me it was bentonite clay, Epsom salt, baking soda, and an optional is a lavender drop.
Okay.
So you mix all that up in the bath, a hot bath. You sit them in there, and they sweat out the metals and the toxins. And
Wow.
that's where the whole when children get vaccinated, and I'm not saying that vaccines are bad, and I'm not saying that vaccines cause autism, But what I am saying is that
But you do have to clarify that. I understand why you needed to
yes,
clarify
yes,
that.
I do, because I feel like some people they view it in different ways. And
Mm,
there was a point in time where I was like, oh no, he got autism from the vaccine, he got autism from the vaccine. But
okay.
I over time I realized, okay, it wasn't the vaccine that gave him autism. The
Okay.
vaccine actually, I believe, caused his symptoms to amplify. Where before
Gotcha.
he was calm, but then over time, it's like he's having meltdowns. He's, he can't communicate his needs. He,
Mm,
it was just a lot going on. He couldn't handle being in loud areas. So we would have like family functions and stuff. And, I told you last week, loud family, very loud family. And they're yelling to communicate. He's yelling. That's right. They're yelling to communicate. He's yelling because they're yelling. So, so it was just like,
exactly.
yeah, all of those things were happening, and I was just like, okay, we got to get this under control. Now, after detoxing, after doing the detox baths, we don't do them anymore because he's too big for a bath. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm like I would have to pick him up and all that kind of stuff. I'm not doing that.
Okay.
There
Okay.
are people that still do it. Like there are adults that do detox baths and everything. It's not like it's no limit.
Yeah.
But I'm
Okay.
just not putting his big tail in no bathtub
Right.
anymore.
Right.
But yeah,
So,
once
what
we
did you switch to? If you stopped the baths, what did you switch
now
to?
we do aloe vera juice. So
Okay.
aloe vera juice, we just put a cap full in his juice, and that is something that detoxes toxins. It detoxes heavy metals, and it keeps them calm. Children with autism, they have a hard time detoxing toxins from their body. So
Okay.
it's not like a one and done. Like, okay, we took some baths, all right, we're good to go. Like, no,
Yeah.
it's constant because as we eat foods, as we breathe in this air, as we drink different things, household products, all of those things consist of toxins. So when those toxins go into his body, it's hard for him to flush them out
Right.
because of their detox system.
Yeah.
So that's where the different his drops and his aloe vera juice and all that. That's where that comes into play. It keeps him calm. It keeps him level headed, and it just allows him to flow a lot smoother because he doesn't have those metals that are causing all the anxiousness and the anger and the frustration and the short temper and stuff. And now we can go to family functions. Now we can go to church. We can go to different things.
Awesome.
Yeah, we can go to different things, and I don't have to worry about him being overwhelmed or him getting upset over things. It's just a huge difference. But the detoxing the detoxing is definitely going to be a consistent thing, and like I said, it changed. Now we don't have to sit him in a tub to sweat. Now
Okay.
he's able to drink, but he still has to get those toxins out of his body in order to
Absolutely.
function the way he needs to function, whether it's at home, at school, wherever.
So you continued the journey. You just made adjustments as he got older,
Yes.
or and as he's growing. You and so I'm sure. Are you like researching for or thinking about when he gets older? Like, how are you thinking it's gonna be aloe vera juice, or you think, or have you learned about some other options?
I haven't learned about anything else yet, but I'm sure it may come a time where I might need to, do some more research. And I like to research, so I might research when we get off this podcast. But but yeah, as of right now, because he actually just started the aloe vera juice
Okay.
like maybe last year, maybe the middle of last year.
Okay.
So I think that that's going to stand strong for a little bit because there's actually adults that do aloe vera juice. There's actually adults that do aloe vera juice, so it's not like it's a child thing. But you know, it things may change, but right now we're good with that.
Okay, I love that. And I love that. I think you talked about last week when you were speaking, you talked about, researching and how I think one of the things about being a parent, and then there's like special needs of many kind or any kind,
Hmm.
you need to become an expert. I know one of my first lessons that I was told to do was to learn how to pronounce all of his medications. Like, now I couldn't say, oh, that pill he takes for whatever. No, the nurse and the doctors were like, you have to tell us, because sometimes there's like 10 different pills that they could take for one symptom. You
Hmm.
need to know what is that medical name for that medication. And I had to like write it all down and keep a
Yeah.
list and be able to actually pronounce um the word. Do we
Hmm.
need to find, is Carter good?
Just really quick, I'm gonna just give me 1 second.
Okay, so we built in today. Thanks, Erica's going to take a break. We built in some breaks for so she can go and keep a check on Carter. And realistically, I love that Erica can come in. I want you guys to check out her website. It's on the screen, Erica Shurency, va.wixsite.com/Carter's Advocate. And she's going to come back on and she's going to tell us about that site.
Okay, so that website is that website is something that I actually created for people who I know are where I am right now and where I was. It seems like over time, unfortunately, a lot more children are getting diagnosed with autism, and there are parents out there who are stressed out because there aren't a lot of resources to tell you what to do if it's not a prescription. So, most times if you go to the doctor and tell them, we just got him diagnosed, we don't know what to do, they'll give you, I know there's Adderall. I know that's for ADHD, and
Yeah.
then there's like leucovorin or something. Like there's different things that people give their children, but not everybody wants to take the prescription route.
Right.
And I personally did not want to take the prescription route when it came to Carter. So that was why I did the research that I did on vitamins and foods and all that kind of stuff. And then I started coming across some moms who were going through what I went through. And I would give them, my little vitamins and stuff. And I had the blog at that time. So I would refer them to the blog. And then it was just like over time, I kind of left the blog alone. But um, I got a word from my pastor, basically pretty much confirming that it was time to pick it back up. But
Excellent.
I didn't just want to revive the blog. I wanted to do like a whole revamp and take it to a whole nother level. So my new site, it has all the vitamins and everything on there so that when there are parents who are going through what they're going through, whether it's, the behaviors or, the speech delay or, whatever they may be going through, I
Yeah.
just give them a link because and it doesn't have with the blog, it was like, Carter did this today, Carter did that today. He went
Yeah.
over this. This one right here is just straight, information, and
Okay.
it gives you the meat and potatoes right there. Like
Okay.
it's giving you what you need, which is vitamins, foods, what you need to cut out, supplements, and there's also a disclaimer because no two autistic children are the same.
Absolutely
so
not. Absolutely not.
I want to put the disclaimer out there like, look, everything doesn't work for everybody, and not only that, some things might not work immediately,
Right.
it varies. It varies. And that website is based off my experience and also research that I've done. And I really hope that it helps people because everything that I put on there, it helped me a lot.
That is so awesome. Well, you definitely, I can say personally, you're a wealth of knowledge and you're not like
Thanks.
gatekeeping it. Like, I'm just going to give them a
Mm-mm,
little bit. I think
mm-mm.
once you become a part of a community like this, you're going to decide which is it. You're going to learn to be open about it. You're going to share with, you want to give people what you have and what has worked for you. I think like when we were talking last week with Nona, and I was taking notes when you started talking about the detox and the tub. I was just like, okay, now what was those ingredients? Because I mean, you have to choose to be a student once
Hmm.
you. It's just like, you know what? I'm gonna be a student. I'm gonna learn from everyone. I'm gonna take
Yeah.
the part that's for me, and I'm gonna like the other part is not for me. I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
So I really appreciate you sharing your website. That's why I'm really hope
Thank
people.
you for promoting it. I
Of
appreciate it.
course, of course. I mean, we're celebrating you today, and I'm really excited about people being able to go out there and getting that information because you hear a lot of things, but you don't know where to start sometimes.
Right.
And it's funny because I'll say there's a saying, a really good friend of mine says all the time, pay attention to everything that crosses your path.
Hmm.
And in the most unusual places, I've gotten information about the oils for my oldest son. I've gotten information about is he playing?
Go ahead. I'm going to push mute because this boy.
No, he's fine. It's fine. He's fine. He's not
Okay.
even loud. What are you talking about? He's fine. Are you kidding, girl?
Okay. Go ahead.
Um, and so I think I'm just gonna say that I'm appreciative of your sharing and even taking the time with being a mom and in the thick of it in real time to
Yeah.
take time out to create a space to educate someone else. That is
Mhm.
powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very powerful. So I'm going to
Yeah.
ask you. Oh, go ahead. You want to share something?
Oh no, I wasn't going to say anything. I'm just sitting here trying to focus while he's acting silly behind me.
He's fine. He's fine. Um, so I wanted to ask you a question about before I'm going to give you a question that we can kind of like attack. So this is more about friends and social connections.
Hmm.
With you hear like the gamut of story. We talk about spectrum. You hear the spectrum of stories about how that works for different children that are on the
Hmm.
spectrum. So friendships can look different for kids on the spectrum. That's true.
Hmm.
To an extent, I will agree with that. But
Hmm.
how have you helped your child, your boy, build relationships or find people who understand him? Either one or both.
Well, I don't have a lot of friends that have kids Carter's age. Most of my friends, their children are older, like, 10, 11, 12. So they're older. So they really don't, they can't really connect with Carter. Carter has two younger cousins. My youngest sister, Courtney, she has two daughters. So he plays with them a lot. They come over. Sometimes they'll spend the night for the weekend. They love Carter. Carter loves them. So he's able to connect with them a lot. In school, his teacher tells me everyone loves Carter. Everybody loves Carter and everybody knows Carter. I don't know how, but they're just like, are you Carter's? Like, are you Carter's mom? Yes, I'm Carter's. Oh my gosh, we love Carter so much. And these aren't
Wow.
even his teachers. These are like random teachers that he sees. So he has a huge impression on people. But as far as like having friends and people to come around that can play with him, as of right now, is just his cousins, Zara and Kinsley. He does have a cousin, Gavin, who he sees occasionally. It's kind
Nice.
of hard because he's over in Philly. So it's like, it's hard for him to get together with his cousins.
Yeah.
But when they do get together, they have a good time. But yeah,
That's
Carter, he connects with people and he communicates in his own way, because right now when it comes to verbal communication, he talks, like he says words, he says a whole lot of stuff. But
yeah.
as far as communicating, we haven't reached that milestone yet.
Mm-hmm.
So and his cousins understand that, and they just, when they come over, they play, and he'll say his words, and then when he says a word, he wants you to repeat it. So he'll say
Oh,
the
wow.
word, and then Zara and Kinsley will repeat it back. and that will just, and
Love
that's
it. I love it. I love
their
it.
thing. So they meet him where he is, and I really appreciate that because not all kids are accepting of neurodivergent kids, and not all parents are accepting of
True.
their children being around neurodivergent kids. So not only
True.
that, he's in a smaller classroom, and he has a couple of classmates that I go to their parents' house and they'll hang out. They hung out like a couple times, with birthday parties, and had a little pool
Nice.
party. So he has his things that he does to communicate and connect. But Carter likes to be alone. Like for the most
Right.
part, Carter he likes being
Right.
solo. Like there have been
Right.
times where the girls come over and Carter is up in his room, and it's like, I'm like, Carter, come downstairs. No. Like like he likes to have, like, he will eventually come down, but it's almost like he has to kind of prepare himself. So
Yeah.
there, and he likes to play by himself. And it could have to do with him being like an only child. He does have a sister, but she's older, and she
Okay.
has her own thing going on.
Okay.
So right now, as far as in this household, it's just him,
Yeah. It's just
and
him.
he does not have a problem with it because
Yeah.
he'll go upstairs and he'll play with his stuff, and he will have a ball all
Yeah.
day long, all the way until bedtime. So
Yeah. Well, and let also you and dad are his friend, his first friends,
oh yeah, yeah,
you
yes.
know, and that
And I
makes a
spend I
difference.
spend a lot of time. He spends time with Eric too, but because his dad's schedule is all over the place. For example, he just left for work, and he's going to be working 6 p.m. tonight till 6 a.m. in the morning. So
Okay.
it's just me and Carter rocking out,
Yeah.
and, and that's just what it
Yeah.
is. So
Yeah.
but when he's home, I do get my break because it can be a lot sometimes. So I'll get my break,
Absolutely.
and then he'll hang out with his dad, or if we're both home, we'll all hang out together. But for the most part, Carter is like, he's at that age where it's just like he likes his time alone, and
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that, because if that's what he needs to do to be regulated, then that's okay. But when he's at school, he's loving all the kids, and sitting in the cafeteria eating lunch with the kids,
I love
recess.
it. I love that.
Yeah. So it's like he a combination of both. He can be a
Yeah.
loner, but he can be a social butterfly too.
Yeah. And I think that that is something that, like you said, every child is different,
Hmm.
and also I think it has to do with the journey,
Yeah.
their ages and how kids grow up and where they grow up and are they comfortable in certain
Yeah.
schools and different situations that they're put in it all. And he just looks like he's happy and he's just
Mhm.
doing his
He's
thing. He's playing with
always happy.
mom.
Always
He's
happy. But I
that's
did notice that a lot of that changed. A lot of his happiness and chipperness, it took place after the diet change, after the vitamins, after,
gotcha.
because a lot of the toxins in their bodies create irritability,
Yeah.
and it makes them easily upset, and they get easily frustrated. And because of the delays, they can't communicate what they want, which causes them to get upset. So
Yeah.
I think once he was finally able to communicate, once he was finally able to be like, okay, I can be somewhere and not have to put on my headphones and not go crazy, because I told you before, like there was a time where if we would turn on the vacuum cleaner, if we would turn on the blender, he
Yeah.
he would scream, like
Oh my
scream
goodness.
hysterically. And it was all because of what was going on in his gut. It was affecting his
Okay.
brain. But now, and he like, it seems like he'll purposely come around when we're vacuuming, kind of to test himself. Like he'll put his fingers over his ears, and then he'll take them off to see. He's
Uh-uh.
like, okay, I can handle this. Like
Oh,
like
I love it. I
a lot
love it.
has a lot changed, and once that
Love it.
changed, his whole attitude changed.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that. I love that for him, for Carter, but I love it for you guys too,
Yeah.
as the parents, to see. I know those are the successes that you are celebrating. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so okay, so I'm going to ask you to share one or two last thoughts, but basically, I would like for you to share something for the extended family, for that they something that they may not know that you would love for them to kind of understand so they can. I mean, you already have, like, the nieces and the
Yeah.
other, the nephew, the cousin,
Mm-hmm.
and the sister. You already have people that are already like locked in, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful thing. But
Yeah.
there's some people that are onlookers, family members, friends, that are just like, they want to come up, they want to be a part, but you're just like, they're I don't you don't trust that they know enough to
Mm-hmm.
lean all the way in. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So, okay.
Yeah, and
She's
but
like, I got you. Go ahead.
I feel like I feel like when it comes to them not understanding, it's not their fault because they're not in my shoes, but it's hard for me to be like, "Oh, you don't understand." So I'm just like, "Yeah, you're not in my shoes, so I really can't. I don't know if I could trust
Yes, we're
you." Okay.
back.
All right. Well, yeah, just I think it's more so just thank you for being understanding because I do have a lot of friends and stuff that I kind of friends and some family members. I don't have a big family. Let's just put that out there. I really don't have a big family. The family I have, they're all very understanding
Okay.
because I'm very open.
Okay.
So if it comes to anybody who doesn't understand, um, then we're probably not that close. But
Yeah.
when it comes to my family, they get it because I'm a very transparent person when it comes to Carter. And I have, pretty much put it all out there. Like, everybody in my family knows, everybody on social media knows how I am. But
Yeah.
but I do appreciate people understanding because in the beginning they didn't.
Right.
We would have family functions and I went through a time where it was like, I'm not going. Like, I'm not coming.
Mm,
I'm not going to be chasing him around. And, everybody else is just laughing and giggling and, oh, let me get another plate. Meanwhile, I'm chasing after Carter. I'm all out
right.
of breath and hot and sweating. Everybody else looking
Right.
cute. And I'm over here like, oh my goodness. Carter's in the garage. Carter's in the bathroom flushing the toilet.
Oh, oh my
Like
goodness.
the stuff that I was going through, it was just like, you know what? We're just gonna stay home. But
Okay, now wait. Let me ask you this question, Erica,
okay.
because my thought goes two different ways when I hear that. So you're in a family function, and Carter is in the bathroom flushing the toilet, or he's in the garage. My question is, and this you can take this two ways. The person that came in to tell me that Carter was in the garage, did they have Carter with them? Did they bring him to you? Or did they leave him flushing the toilet and then did they come to you? Like, where or how come we're not able to get the baby and just say, all right, like, we're gonna shut the door, but you're gonna come on this side of
Right.
the door. What's going
It,
on?
the situation varies.
Okay.
It varies. Sometimes the person will bring him out, like, okay, you got to get out of here. But I think it was more so them calling me because they don't want no problems with Carter. because because if Carter is doing something and you tell him no, you can't do that, you might catch the wrath. So it's like,
Oh
okay,
wow.
we'll call his mom in and sometimes I'll catch the wrath, because if he has something that he's doing, a lot of the stuff that he does, whether it was like flushing the toilet, sometimes like opening and closing cabinets, it was to regulate himself. It's for
Okay.
regulation. It wasn't just because he just liked to flush the toilet. It was because it was a lot of stuff going on and that routine would soothe him in the midst of all the craziness. But
Yeah.
yeah, most of the time, Erica, can you come get Carter? He's in the bathroom, right?
Right.
And I didn't have a problem with that, but sometimes those situations were the situations that was just like, I can't do it. As much as I
Yeah.
loved going to family functions and stuff, it was different things that was just like, It's too much.
Yeah.
And I know that everybody really wanted him there and everybody really wanted me there, but it's like it can be overwhelming and it can be stressful and it can be draining, having to do that. And that was why I kind of backed
Okay.
off.
No, that's fair. And I want to say, let's leave with like some insight or revelation, because honestly, I mean, we want family to come together. We definitely don't want family to not have to come because the baby is maybe stimming, just trying to comfort themselves, what different things.
Yeah.
Do we recommend, would you recommend a quiet room? Would you recommend a space where, I mean, Walt Disney, they did it. Like, that's on a
Hmm.
larger scale. But I
Hmm.
think we can scale that all the way down, even if it's an apartment, to
Hmm.
give a space where a child could go and it could be quiet and it could
Yeah.
be lights out. And maybe, and I'm sure if it's family and people that, friends that love us, they want us to come. I
Hmm.
If they knew that that was
Yeah.
an option.
Hmm.
So tell us, what do you think that would look like?
It is an option now. Like I mean, it was an option then too. But when he was younger, it was harder because he didn't want to be in the room. He wanted to run around. But I feel like I know even in school they have like a sensory room
Right.
where they go in there and it's quiet, it's low lit, and it'll just, it's just something for them to just regulate, calm themselves because of all the hustle and bustle during the school day. So, I would have to say every family member, that has something, they have an extra room where he goes and he'll be on his iPad and he'll just, he'll look at his iPad. Sometimes his little cousins will come in there with him. And that's just where he goes just to gather it, just to get it together. And then
Yeah.
he comes back out and he'll, socialize or whatever. And then sometimes he'll go back in, and that's just what it is. But it was harder when he was younger, when he was 3 and 4 and 5, because it was just like, I don't want to stay in the room. I want to do this. I want to do that. But now, he has no problem sitting still, and because he knows what works for him.
Yeah.
Before, it's like, you got a 3, 4 year old. It's like, it's hard to calm them down and be like, no, it's
Absolutely.
best that you sit down. It's like, I don't want to sit down. But now,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
Carter will go in the room by himself quick, and he will not be phased by what's going on outside. Y'all have a ball, talk all as loud as you want. I'm going in this room, and I'm closing the door.
Oh, I
So
love it. I love it. I love it.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. I think that also giving, not just for our families, not just for your family, my family, but even just somebody that's listening to say, oh, I never even thought about, as the
Yeah.
vacation, summer's coming up, people are planning different events. They, along with that plan, they can plan a space, and like you said, it may not always be a child wants to go in, or a teenager or an adult, someone that is neurodivergent and needs that moment to kind of like recalibrate themselves.
Mhm.
It can be you can just consider them in your planning, and
Yeah.
you don't need to even buy anything. It could just be, like you said, a room with a door closed, or a
Right.
space where the lights can kind of dim down for a moment, and that
Mhm.
could just considering that. And even if they don't use it, and you got your guests coming in and you say, hey, we want everybody to know that's coming in that we have this space over here if you need to
Right.
take a moment. And
Yeah.
I personally, I would welcome that. I would
Mhm.
welcome that announcement even if I don't need the room. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a way, because I think family and friends are trying to connect also. How can
Mhm.
we how can we help? How can we be a part of, what
Yeah.
Carter
And
has
it's
going
not
on?
it's and I want to say Carter is the first uh neurodivergent child in our family, in our immediate
Okay.
family. So I
Okay.
feel like everybody is learning. Everybody is figuring it out
Absolutely.
because it's not something that we've ever experienced before. So, as I'm learning, they're learning. And as we all learn together, things get better. We're able to accomplish more and things are able to flow a lot smoother because okay, we know how to address it. We know why this is happening
Yeah.
and this is what we're going to do to make it better.
Yeah. Okay. So, Erica, I mean, Nona's not here, but I'm going to ask you, do you feel like we have completely satisfied this conversation?
I think so. I
You
think so.
do?
I think this was a really good conversation. I'm glad we got a lot of stuff out. I feel like we touched on so many different things,
Mhm.
and I really enjoyed it.
Good, good. Okay. And I think that two things. I think that we have like what we started or our goal to have this conversation and let it unfold. I think we definitely were able to touch on a lot of different points. Um and I'm gonna end with like the video that I sent to you and Nona about the mom
Hmm.
who um it's on social media, and maybe I'll post it. But it's such a real thing where for she did not realize, and her child was not a baby. He looked
Hmm.
like he might have been like
He's like
14, 15.
15 or something. Hmm.
Okay, he looked like he
Yeah.
was, and she did not realize that he was spelling full words and saying
Hmm.
full, things. I did read later on. So the video is like this. The son is sitting there and he is spelling, and they have the words, the letters that he's spelling come up onto the screen, and eventually you realize he's spelling out Safari Park. And
Hmm.
someone that was watching the video when the mom first posted it said in the comments, he's spelling Safari Park. And
Hmm.
until someone did that, and she read that, she was like, wait, and she never noticed. And she's like, he's 15. She's saying, oh my God, that's probably what he's been doing for years.
Yep.
And she was crying, and I
Hmm.
understand, like, it is heartbreaking because it's like so many different things that we can miss
Hmm.
because you just don't know.
Yeah.
But I also celebrated with her because I said, for her to realize it, and I saw later on in the chat she said we're going to whatever Safari Park like this weekend, that she was taking him to Safari Park. I mean, imagine how that opened up a whole nother door for her
Right.
to
Yeah.
realize that, oh, her boy is like literally he's communicating
Hmm.
by spelling out words and probably
Yep.
sentences and complete thoughts, and now she
Hmm.
gets to capture that. And so
Hmm.
I think that's kind of like how it is in a lot of ways, is that
Yeah.
there's things you don't realize, and you're constantly learning things as they go on, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh my, oh, I didn't even, oh, he was doing that when he was
Mhm.
4, or you know
Yep.
what I'm
I was
saying, like,
like that with Carter because Carter learned how to read. Carter taught himself how to read when he was, I want to say, like 3.
wow,
So when he would ask for things, because he couldn't say it, like say what he wanted, I would have to say spell it. And if I would say spell it, he would spell it. I'm like, all right, cool, sandwich. All right, he wants juice. All right, whatever. But yeah, sometimes you have to
yes,
take different routes depending on the child. But I am glad that that she figured that out. It's definitely an emotional thing when you meet a milestone like that, no matter how old they are. It's just like, oh my goodness. And some
yeah,
people are like, well, wow, he's 15. Like, you'd be surprised. Like the smallest milestones that a child can make at 8 years old, the average child probably makes it at 2. And it's just like, I don't care. My child is 8. He's doing this now, and I'm going to celebrate it because
absolutely,
he wasn't doing
absolutely.
this yesterday.
Yes, yes. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I was just like, that
Yeah,
is
that was a good
bittersweet.
video.
It was good though. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
really happy for her. And so I think we're going to stay on our discovery journey,
Hmm.
and we'll put our heads together. I feel like we have a lot of information that we can share with people. Honestly, I'm always thinking about people who are just starting the journey, or
Yeah.
people that are in the journey and maybe have been in denial, and
Yep.
then they didn't embrace it, but now they're
Hmm.
ready to embrace it. And that's what I talk about, navigating the gap, because the gap is kind of like when you come in, you're kind of like looking around like, what am I going to do? Is this
Yeah.
something I'm going to do? And you can
Yeah.
stay in denial for a minute, but then so I'm hoping we'll come back at some point later on and talk to people who are not in denial,
Yeah.
but just coming out of it, to
Right.
say, where do I start now? I've been letting this thing go for 5, 6, 7, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
and didn't address it. And so now I'm ready to get started, and maybe we can help, those people by sharing some
Yeah.
insights and information. So this is not the end, but we will come back. I'm so glad Carter made an appearance.
I know, right?
Thank you,
I had a
Carter.
feeling he would, but I'm glad that he was quiet for the most part so that we can,
Yeah,
accomplish
yeah. He did
accomplish.
great. He did great. I'm
Yeah,
so glad.
yeah, he
And he
did.
and he said
I'm
hello
proud of
from
him.
the beginning. He did. He said hello. Thank you, Carter. I don't know if you can hear me, but
He can,
I am so glad. Thank you.
so you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Oh, yes, that is so good.
Okay.
Such a handsome boy. Mom,
Thank
you
you.
and Dad are doing a great job,
Thank
and
you.
I'm so glad you guys shared your story. Anybody that will listen to this, check out Erica's website if you want to get in touch with her. She does speaking engagements. She'll come on your podcast and she'll talk about being Carter's advocate, and she'll do all those things. So contact her, reach out for her. She really, Erica, you, to be honest, you only shared a tiny little corner of all the information that you have.
Yeah.
And so you're not just sharing the information, but you are living it every
Yes.
day. So
Yes.
I just
And
wanted
I
to,
really appreciate you opening your platform for me to share this because a lot of people need it. And I'm looking forward to, sharing a lot more.
awesome. Okay. I'm excited about that. And so, okay, we're gonna say goodnight to you and Carter, and we will talk to you all soon. Have a good evening. Thank you,
Okay. You
everybody, for
too.
joining us. You had a lot of comments in the chat
I
also.
do.
Yeah.
I
So
can't even see.
you can't. I mean, people are just saying thank you. Lots of information.
Oh,
Good evening, good conversation.
good. Thank
So
you.
yes. So I appreciate you joining us today, sis, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. See you later. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.